Dragon Age Veilguard director is leaving the studio. Yeah, here we go. This is the big thing that happened. Corrine Busche, I don't know how to say her name. I think that's the right way. Game director of Dragon Age Veilguard has left BioWare and EA. BioWare Edmonton, the Veilguard studio, to be shuttered. And so shuttered, what is that definition? What does shuttered mean? Closed. What does it mean to be shuttered? Closed for business, not operating. Well, the game said it was non-binary, and I guess the players did too. I guess not. There it is. I wonder why. Yep. That's just too bad. We call that Ripozo, yeah. Oh, fuck. The farewell email was shared with me, and I verified her leaving of Smash GT. The rumor goes that it's not entirely confirmed yet, so we'll have to wait and see. It's sad that after completely destroying the game with DEI transcars and terrible characters and writings, that the game director responsible for it bails and leaves everyone else holding the bag. These people often fail upwards through a woke studio system built on promoting activists instead of great developers. Sad. This is our first collab. Check out JT's video in the video reply for it. Wow. Veilguard is dead. It's a confirmed flop.
All right, hang on to your seats for this one because holy crap, do I have a megaton nuke to drop in this video. I've been contacted by my source directly related to BioWare letting me know that Corrine Busche, the director of Dragon Age the Veilguard, is officially out at BioWare. He sent an email out to the company letting everyone know that he no longer wants to be working at BioWare because after a lot of personal thought and thinking that it's just not the right place for him anymore. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash.
It's important to keep in mind that a lot of this stuff can be unsubstantiated, and I usually don't take it super seriously. Now, do I think this one is true? I do. But always stay skeptical, stay smart. I just figured I'd say that at the beginning.
And you would think that Corrine Busche leaving BioWare would be the wildest story, but what my insider told me after this email of them confirming that he's leaving is that BioWare Edmonton might be shutting down.
Of course.
Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full...
Of course they're going to shut it. Of course it's going to happen. Like, how could you not come to that conclusion? Duh. Yeah.
Article breaking down how Corrine Busche, the director of Dragon Age the Veilguard, the person in charge of the game, has now left BioWare, which is kind of a gigantic loss on the surface if this is someone that was valued and respected, but I look at the situation as the game was a massive failure, and he was pretty much pushed out the door.
I don't even think it was massive failure. I mean, if I look at Dragon Age right now, well, it's not even, it's like the fourth one down. If I look at it, okay, never mind. Just a sec.
Legendary RPG studio known as BioWare has been the cornerstone of the gaming industry for decades. But a long line of failures between Mass Effect Andromeda, Anthem, and now Dragon Age the Veilguard were troubling signs of a studio headed directly toward a catastrophic downfall. I've been passed along very credible information from an inside source that Corrine Busche, the game director of the failed Dragon Age the Veilguard, has officially left the company as of a few days ago, and that's just one wild piece of this crazy puzzle. And all of it is painting a very grim picture of the studio's future. And massive shock.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like this is a guarantee it was going to happen. It's not even a question. Of course this was going to happen. You can't release a game, invest probably over $100 million into it, and then not hit certain sales figures. The math just doesn't math. Like, it's literally that simple. But I mean, it really...
out to Grums, who let me know about this information initially. This was the email that I had to forward on to my contact to confirm it. And sure enough, they said, yep, that's legit. Yes, that's real. And yes, he's gone. In an email that was leaked to me that was sent out to BioWare employees, Busche recently announced his resignation, citing his decision to pursue new challenges and projects focused on his passion for making RPGs. And sure, after massively failing on a game, you just want to up and leave a studio, like no one's pushing you out the door. I think we see exactly what's going on here, but whatever.
The majority of time where people leave studios or leave groups like that, following something not going well, it's usually a fall on your sword type situation where either it's like they're like saying, well, you know, you can leave or we can get rid of you. And so they just decide to leave. That way it just, you know, to minimize friction.
Take a look at this email. And the email that I got is kind of a scan copy of it, just to make sure we remove any kind of watermarks or anything like that. But because it's so hard to read, I want to make sure I wrote it all out here to go through it with you guys. And it states, hard to believe I'm writing these words, but here it goes. It's time for me to say goodbye. Today is my last day at BioWare and EA. After so much contemplation, I've decided to pursue a new challenge and a new project, doing what I love most, making RPGs.
Well, I thought that's what you did with Bio. I thought that's what Dragon Age was. I thought Dragon Age was supposed to be an RPG.
Wasn't an easy decision, as I mean it when I say I love BioWare, the Dragon Age team, and what we've all accomplished together. My time with all of you has been the highlight of my career, which I gotta stop there and say, if the time was so great,
why are you leaving?
The highlight of your career, why would you be leaving to pursue your own projects again?
Yeah, exactly.
I want to offer my personal thanks to each of you for your trust, your companionship, and for the many ways in which you've inspired me.
Thanks for trusting me. Now I'm going to get another job because I'm more connected inside to the industry, and I am going to leave you guys, and your ship is going to sink, and I'll see you later. I hope you had fun. I sure did. Yep, definitely.
And help me grow.
That's great.
I'll be eagerly waiting to see what great experiences you create next. And as a fan,
see you, boys.
I'll be rooting for you. If I can leave you with any advice, it is this. We all know making games is hard. It's part of why we do it. But making games is also about the people and the reliance we have on one another. So take the time to celebrate the wins and lift each other up.
I hate how people say, like, making video games is hard, as if competing in any other industry isn't hard. Like, being a garbage man is hard. Being a construction worker is hard. Working in a kitchen, I think, is hard. Jobs are hard. And if you're in a competitive job at a high level, it's going to be even harder. There's nothing special about making video games that makes it uniquely hard. That's just how it is.
Challenge and the work will always
That's
be
why
there.
we do it? No.
But the moments we have with each
Do
other
not fucking
are
remember me.
precious.
No,
and few.
stop.
Let's stay in touch, Corrine, and gives contact information. And this is a very bittersweet toned email where he's like, hey, I mean, I'm leaving on my own. This is the best experience ever. But, yeah, just lift each other up because making games is hard. But we're celebrating the wins.
Which
We
one?
just can't seem to find any. While Corine's message tries its darndest to sound optimistic, highlighting his love for BioWare and its teams, his jarring sudden departure comes across as someone who failed completely, miserably at what they were doing, and ultimately, abruptly being ushered out the door. I mean, they were injecting trans scars, woke ideologies.
I think that there's also another component of this that might not be discussed in this video, is that they could have also left because what ended up happening is that after the reception of Dragon Age Veilguard came out, it was determined that this type of ideology was like a negative impact on the sales of the game. And because of its negative impact, it caused the higher-ups and the people that were at leadership at the studio to say, hey, because like they said they're going to make Mass Effect after this, they're like, yeah, we can't do this anymore. Like, you're not going to have any of this stuff in the game again because you basically killed this game And everybody on the internet thinks that it's because of this stuff, and now it makes our studio look really bad. Because I guarantee you, like, the actual executive leadership at these companies doesn't really care about these issues one way or another. But if these issues are a road bump in the way of them making money, then they're just simply going to drive around them. That's it. They don't want to go over them. They don't want to deal with them for any reason. So there's a good chance that this person could have been pushed out because they wanted to put their like viewpoints into the next game. And it was just made abundantly clear that that will just simply not happen. That's another component. And I feel like if I was, and here's the thing, right? Like, if you're EA's, I think, a publicly traded company, right? And so that means BioWare is to some degree accountable to the people that own it. And if you were on that executive board, would you have told them that? I would have. I would have said, listen, we went with your idea. It didn't work. Now let's do another idea. Andrew Wilson doesn't give a fuck? Yeah, exactly.
Have been rejected by gamers wholeheartedly from Jump Street, so I can't really say I'm very surprised at this result, but still, it's wild to see the times really are changing. DEI is DIEing, and we're seeing it right now in real time. Corrine Busche announcing his departure is on top of Sylvia Fekete, the senior writer of 15 years at BioWare, announcing her departure amidst the disastrous launch of Dragon Age the Veilguard, which, as that very same inside source that I have at BioWare had informed me, sold under 1.5 million copies against expectations of over 10 million. And if you want...
Oh, wow. Number one, how could you possibly think you were going to sell 10 million copies? At a premium $70 price tag, you're going to sell 10 million copies? Didn't Black Myth Wukong only sell like 20 or 30 million? So, like, how did you possibly think that was going to work?
More information on her departure, I made a video discussing that one as well. And this was a massive loss for the studio. And we're seeing these big-time players leaving one after another. And then we get to the rumors of, it's not just the bigwigs that are leaving, but the studio is now being rumored to be closed as soon as February 2025.
Well, if I was the owner of the company and I was on the board, I would say close the whole studio. That's what I would do. Because it's like whenever you have an infection, you can't just take out every single infected piece of tissue and then leave the rest. You have to cut the entire arm off or the finger off or whatever. Like, I'd say, bro, like, get rid of this. There's something wrong with that group of people. Just fucking trash it. That's it. Yeah, get out, right? Exactly. Like, and that's the smart thing to do, in my opinion. Yeah, it's by design. Well, I don't know if it's by design or I have no idea.
As of recording this video is a month from now.
Amputate and cauterize.
The email that was initially sent to me regarding Busche's departure, I contacted my insider to talk about it, and sure enough, it's true. But it's not the only problem happening over at BioWare these days. Not by a long shot. A follow-up email from my source within EA adds serious fuel to this ongoing fire. Correspondence from my inside source via their anonymous email stated, Hey Jeff, Corrine is indeed gone. The current rumor is that they will announce the closure of BioWare Edmonton sometime around February, just before the Electronic Arts Town Hall. Basically, when EA talks about what is going on for the last fiscal quarter and what's next.
That's smart. Yeah, I would have done that too. Because like that way they can show to their investors that they're taking action whenever a product doesn't go well. That's a very good decision by them. I would have done the same thing. It's like a sacrifice.
I'm going to redact some things.
Looks good for shareholders. Yeah, exactly.
Who this is, and then finish it with her account was deactivated. Good riddance. Time for that DEI BS to end. According to the source, BioWare Edmonton, the studio's flagship location, is now rumored to be on the chopping block next by EA. The studio opened its 3-story office just 5 years ago, and it's already on the way out by the looks of it.
That
the
sucks.
closure is allegedly set to be announced in February 2025, just before Electronic Arts' quarterly town hall meeting, and the timing couldn't be worse, as EA is undoubtedly using this as an opportunity to discuss their fiscal performance, how Dragon Age the Veilguard failed so badly that they had to literally close a studio to make sure the shareholders are appeased. And
well, if I was a shareholder, I would be appeased. Because it shows that you're willing to make tough decisions in order to maximize consumer value or shareholder value. Like, absolutely, I would be happy. That's what I would want them to do. How would it not be what you'd want them to do?
This news is coming amidst growing concerns about BioWare's stability. The company has struggled mightily to recapture any of its former glory, with recent projects falling short of expectations, and it goes to show once again that it's not the studio that makes great games, it's the people.
Yeah.
And just because you have a fantastic name at the front door doesn't mean jack squat if the people you hire in are DEI hires with no talent trying to inject their own ideologies in games that nobody wants to play. And no, there's not really a nice way to say that. That's why people get so mad at me. I'm like,
that's it. Let's address this. Why do so many game companies come to this problem? Because it's not game companies. It's entertainment products. Like, you see this same problem manifest in comics. You see it manifest, obviously, in politics, because that's where it comes from. You see it manifest in movies and TV shows, to a lesser extent in music. And it's happening in games, too. And the reason why is that if you're a person who is hell-bent on putting a message out to the public, what would you do? Well, you would go to the places that specialize in putting out messages to the public, right? Wow. Mystery solved. That's it. And so, of course, right? Because, like, this is the medium that they want to use because this is the most effective way to change people's perspectives from their mind.
This is the reality. And this is the harsh, cold world we live in.
You're naive if you think it's happening organically. I mean, I don't know. Is this like a global conspiracy? I mean, I don't really think it's like, so you can be right and I can also be right. I can't, if you think it's a global conspiracy, there's nothing I can tell you that will make you think that it's not, right? I cannot tell you anything that will make you not believe that. But what I can say is that with the situation like this, there are people that are acting individually towards this end that do not have any connection to some sort of fucking Illuminati level conspiracy. They are just moving towards this goal because they think that's the right thing to do.
When it comes to the gaming world, if you're not giving people something they want to purchase, you will be out on the street. Too bad, so sad, sorry, not sorry. That's reality. Take it or leave it. But regardless, the world is going to pass these people by because they're so ideologically affected in their own mind on how the world's supposed to work as opposed to how it actually works.
Yeah.
And I know this video is obviously focused on BioWare and how it's self-destructing currently, but this trend is not limited to BioWare. I saw Thomas Mahler, the developer behind Ori and the Will of the Wisp and No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah, I played that.
On Twitter, he's a developer that I highly respect and someone with a lot of wise words. And he said, Witcher 3 came out 10 years ago, and Witcher 4 isn't made by the same people that made Witcher 3.
Fucking based.
I think we have to be careful regarding optimism. People expect Bethesda to make the next Skyrim, but game development is all about the people behind the scenes. That team who made Skyrim what it is doesn't exist anymore. Brand means nothing. Talented teams are everything. And I think gamers in general, especially the generic average gamer that just picks up a game and recognizes the company from back in the day, doesn't think too much about this. But the gamers who are really enveloped in the industry see this for exactly what it is. It's why we don't get brokenhearted all the time.
Well, it's the same reason why people watch Christopher Nolan or Martin Scorsese movies, right? Or they watch movies with certain actors in them. It's not really about the plot of the movie. It's about how that plot's going to be told and how you trust them to do. It's really, I mean, it's the same thing.
know the developers have left, and the sequels that we're looking forward to always seem to let us down. It's because it's the people that make the games, not the sign on the front of the door. On top of all this struggle, we now look at the long-awaited Mass Effect sequel remaining shrouded in uncertainty, while internal restructuring and growing emphasis on DEI initiatives have been rapidly destroying the once treasured studio. My source was expressing serious frustration over what they perceive as a shift away from the studio's core creative mission initially to what it's become today.
Well, that won't matter because they're going to shut it down.
Love in their heart for the studio they signed up for originally, to see what it's become now is tragic. For fans of BioWare, this is a deeply concerning development. For sure, getting rid of one of the dead weights and DEI
It's not concerning at all. It's a good thing. Anybody should be like, I remember when they got rid of that one loser who made like WoW like stories, like that Steve Denuser guy was a fucking retard. And I mean, he's not the only person who was, but he was the person in leadership, and he left the company. They never even said anything about it. Guy was a fucking moron. And so anyway, he got kicked out, and I was like, thank God, right? Finally, there's like, because I feel like a lot of the concern and like criticism around like corporate like structure is that people who are in leadership positions make bad decisions, and then people who are not in those positions are held accountable for them. So like, for example, like some director or some executive makes a decision, and then it's a bad call, and then like the development team gets let go, for example, right? And so I think that having a director or somebody who's actually at the top of the leadership, having them get removed, that's a good thing. That's a great thing.
Is a great start. The news of the entire studio shutting down is something that will affect everyone, including the hardworking employees that were forced into brain rot decision-making for the better part of the past decade or more. The potential closure of Edmonton, combined with leadership shakeups and unconfirmed project timelines, casts some massive doubt on the future of beloved franchises like whatever they end up doing with Dragon Age down the road, and more pertinent, Mass Effect. These once iconic series have defined BioWare's legacy, but without strong leadership and stable operations, ironically, they're going to define the downfall. Busche's email to his colleagues encouraged them to celebrate the wins and lift each other up, a message that seems bittersweet in hindsight, but his departure tries to play it off as a personal career move. When these people are worried about their job moving forward, this person is jumping off of the sinking ship that they destroyed themselves, and they're like, I'll miss you guys. Love you so much. Thanks for the memories.
It's like that mouth-washing game, bro. I can't remember thinking about that,
make my own games by myself now while you guys all suffer. It's kind of ironic in a way. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there.
So
if you guys
funny.
want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. I will link it in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
But for our new players, we're not assuming that you know anything.
I'll link you guys the video. This is really funny.
Characters. We've taken great care in how we introduce each and every single companion. Major story figure within the game as they're introduced.
Well, here's the thing, is that it doesn't fucking matter. Like, you can have the best intentions in the world, and if the game doesn't resonate with an audience, then you are out on your fucking ass. That's all there is to it. So yeah, I think it's a great thing. I love to see people who make content that I don't like fail. I do, and you can say that's kind of a mean thing to say or whatever, but that's the way that I feel. Every time that I see somebody like this end up getting removed or excommunicated or anything like that, I think that it is fucking amazing. Thank God. Because now you've got one less person who's out there, and it's one more point on the graph that shows that there's a line that proves that this stuff is bad. And so, yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, that's a net positive for the gaming community. Absolutely, yeah. And I know these people, they're like, oh, well, it's unfair and, you know, all that. It's like you shouldn't celebrate people that, you know, lose their jobs. I disagree. It's sad for, I'm sure, some of the people who just simply tried to work in their best, they put their best faith effort to work and tried to do a good job, and now they've lost their job. For sure, it's an issue. But at the same time, you know, with the leadership there, that's just the way it goes, man. And people lose their jobs all the time. There's nothing special about video game industry jobs that makes them some sort of like endangered species. People lose their jobs. If you make a product and then the product doesn't sell, you're out of your fucking job. That's life. Okay, that's the free market. People didn't want to pick it, and now you're gone. So there you go. American gaming, last hope is Rockstar. Yeah, we'll see what happens, right? And I think also new studios will pop up and do that. Retard YouTube, 80 trying to make it about the woman being trans. I don't care about that. It's not relevant. It has nothing to do with it. It's the game and how the game portrays different issues and whether people like the game or not. Whether somebody's trans or not is like, this is like, yeah, you want to argue about that? Go to fucking, go on Twitter and fight about that. I could care less. That's not really the main point. And so, yeah, and call that Veilguard sold great. You're just a hater. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Don't bother making DLC for the game. Yeah, and again, I think that also this is another huge victory for like the people that hate games that are made like Veilguard was. And I think that it will make even more game studios afraid of making games like that. And I think that's a good thing. Hopefully it continues, and I'll do my best to make sure that it does.